Well, okay, what do you say? Let's solve some multi-step inequalities. All right, so let's start with this first one right here. We've got negative 3x is less than or equal to negative 4x plus 22 over 5. All right, so we're just going to proceed algebraically, and we're going to be working order of operations from bottom to top. And so the first thing I see I need to do is I need to multiply both sides of these equations by 5, and this will allow me to clear out this denominator. And so when I do, I'm going to end up here with negative 15x is less than or equal to negative 4x plus 22. And so now I'm ready to do some adding and subtracting. I want to get my variables all on the same side. And so in order to do that, I'm going to add 4x to both sides. And when I do, I'm going to end up here with the negative 11x is less than or equal to 22. And so now that I've got my variable isolated, I'm going to divide both sides by 22, and that's going to leave me with x negative 2. But now what about my inequality symbol? Now if you recall, I've just divided by a negative number, which is going to cause me to have to reverse this. Rather than less than or equal to, it's now going to become greater than or equal to by virtue of dividing by a negative number. So now x is greater than or equal to negative 2. And I think we're also asked to graph this on the number line. So let's get a sloppy line here. We're going to put 0 right here. Let's put negative 2 right here. Now we're dealing with a greater than or equal to, which means we're going to have a closed dot on our negative 2. And our graph is going to go this way. So we've got infinitely many solutions that x will be greater than or equal to negative 2. All right, what do you say we work another one? Let's start right here. We got 8y is greater than or equal to negative 5y plus 9 over negative 4. Now, this expression right here, this negative 5y plus 9 over negative 4, is actually a grouping. And so I want to deal with it first. And so negative 5y plus 9 is divided by negative 4. And so since it's a division in this grouping, I want to multiply both sides of the equation by negative 4. And so 8y times negative 4 is going to give me negative 32y is greater than or equal to negative 5y plus 9. I want to get my variables all on one side of the equation, so I'm going to in order to do that, I'm going to add 5y to both sides. And so negative 32y plus 5y is going to give me negative 27y greater than or equal to 9. And so to isolate the variable, I'm going to divide both sides of the equation by negative 27. And so I've got y. Now remember, I'm dividing by a negative, which means I'm going to have to reverse this inequality symbol. And so now it's going to be a y is less than or equal to negative 9 over 27. And when I look at negative 9 over 27, I can see that both 9 and 27 are divisible by 9. So I'm going to reduce this down to negative 1/3. Now let's put this on a number line. So we've got a number line here. We're going to call this 0. We're going to call this negative 1. We're getting ready to graph this. Now, we've got a less than or equal to, which means we're going to have a closed dot. And let's say negative 1/3 is right about there. So we're going to have a closed dot. It's less than or equal to, so I'm taking my graph to the left. Infinitely many solutions where y is, in this inequality, where y is less than or equal to negative 1/3. We're going to look at two more on these solving multi-step equations, which, by the way, this is coming from example 3 on page 35 in your textbook. We've just worked the first two, and now we're getting ready to work the final two. Okay, we're just having so much fun. All right, let's start with this. We got negative 6 times negative 4v plus 3 in parentheses is less than or equal to 2 times 10v plus 3. Now, does anybody have any idea what I need to be doing first to get this done? And if you said I need to distribute, and I'm going to have to distribute on both sides of this inequality, you are therefore correct. So I'm going to distribute this negative 6 to the negative 4v, and I'm going to distribute the negative 6 to the positive 3. And at the same time, over here on the right, I'm going to distribute this 2 times 10v, as well as 2 times positive 3. So let's get that done. So negative 6 times negative 4, I got two negatives I'm multiplying together. That's going to give me a positive 24v. And I've got negative 6 times positive 3 is going to give me a negative 18. I still got less than or equal to. And let's distribute this 2 to what's inside the parentheses, the 10v plus 3, and that's going to leave me with 20v plus 6. All right, now that we got that done, I want to get my variables on one side, my constants on the other. That's going to mean that I want to, let's do it like this. I'm going to subtract 20v from both sides. And at the same time, I'm going to add 18 to both sides. All right, so if I got 24v minus 20v, then that's going to leave me with 4v. And we got still less than or equal to. And 6 plus 18 is going to be 24. All right, so now I'm finally ready to finish this off and isolate this variable v by dividing 4 both sides. And I've got v, and 4 was a positive, so I don't have to flip or change my inequality. V is less than or equal to 6. Quick little number line. Let's see, we got a 0 here. Let's say we got a 6 out here. It is less than or equal to. Less than or equal to, and once again, it's a closed dot here at the 6. Because it's less than, I'm going to take my number line graph to the left. And there we go. We have graphed it. Shazam! Okay, last one, last example. We're going to work on solving multi-step equalities, and the crowd goes wild. All right, let's look at this one. All right, let's start this way. We got negative 5 times 3d minus 7. That's all in parentheses. Guess what? I'm going to be distributing greater than 3, and then in parentheses 2d plus 14. So let's get busy distributing. So let's see, we got negative 5 times 3d. It's going to give me negative 15d. And negative 5 times negative 7 is going to give me a positive 35. Negative times a negative is a positive. We're still going with our greater than for the time being. That should give you a clue as to what's getting ready to happen here a little bit later. Okay, so 3 times 2d is 6d. And 3 times 14 is, they're both positive, is 42. Yeah, 3 times 4 is 12, carry the 1, 3 times 1, yeah, 42. All right, let's get our variables on one side, our constants on the other. I got a positive 6d right here. I want to take it to the other side, so I'm going to subtract 6d from both sides. And that's going to give me negative 21D. And I've got a positive 35 right here. I want to move it to the right side of this inequality. It means I'm going to have to subtract 35 from both sides. And so 42 less 35 is going to give me 7. So we're still keeping our greater than for the time being. So I got negative 21D is greater than 7. I'm going to isolate the D by dividing negative 21 to both sides. But when I do, I've got to change this inequality symbol from a greater than to a less than. And so now I got negative 7 over 21. And in looking at that, I can see that negative 7 over 21, both 7 and 21 are divisible by 7. And so D is less than negative 1/3. I want to graph this on a number line. Let's get a number line right here. Got a 0 here. Let's call this a negative 1 right here. And now, finally, we get an open dot. And let's say 1/3 is right about here. And so I got an open dot right there at negative 1/3. We're going to call that negative 1/3. It's a less than. I'm headed to the left with my graph. And boom, we've got it graphed correctly. A little bit sloppy graph, but hey, who cares?